So welcome back to another very special episode of Focus Enter the Cloud. This time a little bit different. You might have seen Richard on an episode with Lloyd in our Enter the Cloud podcast. This time we're going to be going through it from a little bit more behind the scenes as we launch our Focus Fusion Oracle recruitment brand. So Richard, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Yeah, great to see you again, Ryan. We really sort of share the same values, I think, in terms of where the Oracle market's going. So great to catch up again.
That's it. Of course, we spoke obviously, but that time I was behind the camera, kind of watching you and Lloyd share and trade kind of war stories from years gone by, from different sides of the Oracle ecosystem. That was back. What was it? March, maybe April.
Yeah, I think probably
it was a lot earlier in the year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A lot earlier, so a lot's changed in that time. There's been lots of things going on. I think we were hoping to launch the Fusion brand a little bit earlier than we have, but it meant we had to find the right person. That was what we were looking for, and I think we've done that now with a chap called John, who's coming in to lead the space. I'm sure if anyone is watching this, they will also be interested to see John's kind of insights, which will be coming up with a chat with Lloyd very soon as well.
Yeah.
But Richard, catch us up on the last 6 months or so. What's been going on?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind in a number of areas. So I recently handed over my Oracle User Group presidency to James Herbert. It was a fantastic time, 4 years volunteering, keeping an events organisation going through COVID and beyond, and setting up a foundation for sort of future growth, which is great. But as with all volunteering, it takes time. It was taking a couple of days a week, and I wanted to get back to some hardcore customers and helping them out with Oracle. So launched a number of things, still working with organisations, bringing customers together with Oracle. I've taken more of a sort of focus and interest in the ESG side of things, which is great, because not many people realise that people have got to be submitting their ESG regulatory submissions very soon. And if you've got, for example, Oracle EPM, that's already built in. So there's some great uptake there. That's something I'm passionate about as well. It helps to get out of bed and merge technology that you've been working with for years with something that you're generally interested in. So that's been great. Working a lot with Oracle's financial services, GIU, Global Industry Unit products, around sort of accounting foundations, transaction processing. Not many people realise that Oracle do a lot of stuff outside of core ERP, HCM, payroll, etc. So it's great to look at some of the wider products and working with the teams out in the States. So I think you've got to keep moving. Oracle is constantly moving. You've got quite a few trains to jump on board, or run alongside, or whatever the analogy is in terms of Gen AI, for example, which is taking the sales and marketing world by storm.
Absolutely.
It's interpreting that for customers and what it actually means and what value it can bring. So there is some hype, but there's also some great stuff. There's some great benefits, just in terms of predicting. So there's a lot of exciting things going on at the moment.
Awesome. Thank you for giving that kind of highlight. So whereabouts are you now? So are you in a new role now? Are you?
No, I'm working as an advisor for a number of organisations at the moment, putting Oracle and customers and consultancies together. So you could call it sort of business development, alliances, relationship as a service almost. So I've got lots of homes. I've got a home.
Nice.
Will be released in the new year. New great adventure, which is really exciting. I'll come back and tell you about that. For the time being, around lunchtime, I tend to retire and then think, oh no, I need to come back to work again. So I'm all over the place, figuratively and geography. I'm going over to New York in a few weeks to talk about an exciting new media venture there, which is great. So there's a lot going on, but ultimately it's about customers and getting the best out of Oracle products, having a bit of fun along the way. Fun entertainment, making Oracle more exciting, and ERP in general.
That's it. And I think I think last time we spoke, we mentioned around kind of making that Oracle space a bit more exciting again. I must say, since last time we spoke, I came to one of the user group sessions. Really enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it. Made some great connections at the event. A brilliant evening. There's lots to kind of get our teeth into there, and around kind of making it exciting. Oracle have kind of stepped up in the last kind of 6 months since that meeting. We've seen things surge. I think I kind of kept an eye on some of the things that they had going on. On that particular day, they mentioned a release that was going to kind of really change the game for them in the Oracle space, and I think it's kind of done that. From the things I can see.
I mean, I got beaten around the head for saying Oracle wasn't sexy enough a couple of years ago, and I'm not going to tell you.
I've spoken to a few other, should we say, people in the network, Oracle network, and they've said the same thing. I think, but as a caveat to that, they've realised that, and things are changing. Things are really changing.
It's if you look at where Oracle was, it was very much. If you look 10 years ago, Larry didn't particularly believe in the cloud. It was all on-premise stuff. The cloud, he famously said, was just sticking software in somebody else's server, and going from that belief to be right at the forefront of the cloud, is a big step change. And Oracle themselves in EMEA have really sort of stepped up their game. If you look at what Cormac and Rich are doing from apps and tech point of view, and just the way that customers feel about the buying experience, and customer success isn't just selling license, handing it over to a partner or consulting to implement. It's about the whole journey, and transformation is about a journey. Do companies ever stop transforming? No, and they shouldn't, because the way that SaaS models work is that you're always getting updates, you're always getting improvement, you're always getting more AI features which are there to make your experience better and make your life easier and have better return for the business. So Oracle is cool. It is cool, and Oracle don't pay me anything to say it.
Yeah.
That's it. I just have to be the pin-up really for customers, and a focal point for giving feedback to customers, because if you've got a product, you want to make sure that the customers want it. Organizations that design something in a dark room and don't get any feedback don't necessarily succeed. And if you look at what Apple said, start with a customer experience, and it's always going to be about that. I gave a presentation this morning in Westminster, and it was all around, if you look at SAP, you look at Workday, you look at Oracle, you look at Dayforce, you look at HiBob, whichever tier 1, 2s, and 3s from an HCM point of view. They're all great products. They will all technically work. Yeah, you might have a couple of bugs, bumps in the road, etc. They will all do the job for you. But the differentiator from a vendor point of view is, how does that vendor make you feel in that journey? Are they there to support you? And it's around people, because if you look at word processors now, they've developed enough. It's so diminishing returns now, and you find that ERP and HCM and IT systems get to that point as well. So it then becomes the challenge around adoption, challenge around data, but ultimately around how does that system make you feel, and taking it as a sort of service-led approach rather than an IT system approach.
Yeah, completely agree. Putting the customer at the center of what you want to achieve, the solution that you're trying to provide is absolutely key. And I think that leads beautifully into kind of, the focused cloud approach in what we try and do, and exactly what kind of Focus Fusion is going to do, using that same blueprint that we've got from the Workday side, the SAP side, the Microsoft side, the Salesforce side, and really kind of putting the customer at the front and, at the center of kind of every process that we kind of put in place from a recruitment point of view, from a staffing point of view. And it's exactly what we want to do. And, you know, we're doing a lot of things here to kind of do that behind the scenes. And, you know, Focus Fusion is just one of those things. Hence why we didn't kind of release it a little bit earlier on, you know, when we first spoke to you. You know, we were waiting to make sure we had the right person with, you know, the right caliber, the right amount of time, you know, to really make a go of it. So I think for anyone who's familiar with the Focus Cloud group, you know, there's not going to be too much dissimilar in a Fusion capacity. We're going to still lead with the same mission, the same vision, the same goals. You know, we want to be the most kind of recommended in any one area, and that's exactly what we're going to do when it comes to the Oracle space. You know, we've got a fantastic we've got lots of experience. You know, we can lean on Lloyd's experience from days gone past before his workday days, where obviously you guys first crossed paths, and now we have John Chow involved as well. So we've got some real experience to lean on, some real kind of heavy hitters in the space to drive the brand. So, you know, for everyone, you know, what you're going to expect is going to be lots of value-led conversations, kind of, you know, similar to this one with Richard now. And, you know, we're going to bring lots of other people into the fold and try and share that expertise. So, you know, no doubt we'll be getting involved with the user group where we can in any kind of shape and capacity. Just bringing in all sorts of different kind of angles and different expertise from different parts of the project lifecycle. Bring them in so we can get people talking about, you know, Oracle projects, what makes it so great, and kind of you know, help deliver Oracle projects with just that little bit less stress, maybe a little bit less anxiety. You know, help budget, speed, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's that understanding. You mentioned the phrase project lifecycle. It's recruitment and people matching isn't about, you know, AI could do, I'm sure, and it probably does already, a great job in terms of automating matching a job description to a CV and throw the unlucky people in the bin, as Ricky Gervais said. That is, you know, almost painfully useless, because it goes back to the people again, and it goes back to their understanding and their experience of the project lifecycle. Because, you know, it's such an important thing to, you know, I recruit people and bring people on board who have failed, which you think, what do you mean by that? Well, no, they've got the experience of being on difficult projects. They've understood the challenges. People who come to me and says, it's my 10th completely successful, perfect project, I don't believe them, because it's not true, for a start.
Sure.
So it's having that experience to be able to, you know, a functional consultant or a project manager especially needs the insight and the foresight to clear the path for everybody else. So it's having that extra insight as opposed to something that's automated and say, yeah, this, you know, round holes and square pegs, etc. That's the value that an organisation like yourselves, which you've shown, you're now adding another product line. And, you know, if you keep your core values that you've got for SAP and, you know, Workday, etc., you know, with the rest of the focus group, then you will succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's exactly it. And that's the plan, you know. I think we found that, or we identified, you know, after a few conversations around the, you know, Oracle network, that someone needed to come in and shake it up a bit. And who better to do that than Lloyd and Co, should we say?
Yeah.
That's it, exactly. So, you know, hopefully we can come in, deliver some real value from both a, you know, a staffing point of view, and then from my point of view, obviously in the marketing team, we love to deliver real value to the ecosystems across, you know, whether that's events, whether that's sponsoring events to make things in the you know, in the user group happen, or, you know, delivering videos, guides, white papers, all that kind of stuff. You know, so we're really on board, and, you know,
it's interesting because again, Oracle and other cloud vendors were very protective around their own cloud offerings and saying you must only use Oracle OCI, for example, to host things. Now everybody's opened up. If you look at, you know, I was in Vegas a few weeks ago, and Larry and Co were announcing that they're now partnering with AWS. You know, you can host Oracle on anything, and multi-cloud is great for an organization like Focus, because you can have in perfect harmony, I use that phrase loosely, you could have Workday, SAP, and Oracle, and customers do that. I know customers that have got Unit4, JD Edwards, Oracle, SAP, and Workday. So coming to an organization like yourselves that doesn't just do Oracle or doesn't just do Workday, is a great benefit, because everybody is opened up to multi-cloud, knowing that, trying to beat the competition by going it alone is a bit of a short-term sour grapes reaction to growth. And everybody's working with each other, in a multi-cloud way. So I think what you're doing is the right thing.
Sure. So I think it kind of leads me into kind of my next, I suppose, little section of what I want to talk about is kind of the future of, I
Yeah.
suppose, the Oracle world, the Oracle ecosystem, and I suppose all the different technologies that can combine and be a part of that. So is that something you kind of see more of, especially as we kind of enter this next phase of kind of technology and kind of everything that's about to come with it?
Yeah, it's interesting, and it depends. It's very easy to go down a route, a bit like Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. Once you like something, then you get lots of similar posts, and
Yeah.
the algorithm doesn't broaden itself back out to, well, here's another view. Because if you like something on Twitter, or you go down a route, you carry on going down it. It never sort of pulls you back up. So, well, here's other views. And yeah, you can be very swayed by the juggernaut of sales from all the vendors, and that has got a general sort of almost omnipresent Gen AI feel about it. And I think customers don't really know where to go, don't really know what to do. There's still got 80% of Oracle's customers are still on premise.
Yeah.
They haven't got a compelling event unlike SAP, because you've got Apps Unlimited. Which is a 10-year sort of rolling program to say you can keep your JD Edwards, you can keep your e-business suite, Siebel, PeopleSoft. We're not forcing you to do anything. But what would be good, who wants their own data center? Stick all the workloads on OCI. Yeah, that makes sense as an interim approach. And then, Oracle is saying you can do things at your pace as opposed to us forcing you to do it.
Sure.
So you've really got to step back and take a broad, open-minded view with the help of consultants, to sort of understand what the options are, because sales guys will push you down a route, but you've got to think, is that right for us? So it's important that you've got Gen AI, which is taking over the world and affecting all of us. There's some fantastic benefits. I use ChatGPT a lot. It's well worth $19.99 a month. But going back to the point of, it is, a fantastically exciting era that we're heading into, but head into it with an open mind. And if you look at Gen AI in terms of, organizations should always look at doing a sort of yearly rolling sort of maturity assessment across their processes. That might be, an accounts payable process, and you might currently be at a 2, but you want to get to a 4. And in order to get to a 4 maturity assessment, you need to do this, this, and this. But ask a vendor to lay on top of that maturity assessment what capabilities of Gen AI are in each area, and which are the quick wins, which are the best value returns. I'm working with a bank at the moment, and every business case won't be signed off unless it's got Gen AI, which is quite an interesting, sweeping general statement. But that's the way that they operate, because they want to be seen to be having, efficiencies. And in a banking heavily regulated world, then the benefits are fantastic. But don't just say, well, we need some. Well, what do we need? Oh, put some in and spend millions just for the sake of it. It's reasonably straightforward to overlay a business process and look at the Gen AI capabilities and do it that way, rather than saying, can we have £1 million worth of Gen AI? Because consultancies can very easily burn that and deliver nothing. So it's really important and quite simple to take it from a business process point of view and overlay Gen AI on top of it. So if you think about it in a sensible, slow, pragmatic way, you can carve through a lot of the hype and the noise that's out there at the moment.
I think that's the key, isn't it? You can get so lost in Gen AI and what it can do. I think we do have that kind of challenge here, especially in a kind of marketing function where there's a lot of creativity, there's lots of plates to spin, lots of different things that we can do with it. And that's just kind of, a very small sample, is that, it's almost like, when you're sitting there trying to pick something to watch and you scroll through Netflix forever and then you flick to the next app and you scroll through that forever. There's just too much to really nail down. You've got to kind of take one thing at a time and,
We've got
work out your priorities.
too much information, and I gave a presentation yesterday at Hitachi, and we were talking about ESG. And if you look at some of the ESG standards, I think there's a 900-page European document that lands on your doormat and goes straight through to the ground floor. The ESG, based around Oracle's EPM product, is a great solution that they've been developing on the quiet, which is now taking off big time. And Gen AI, based on a process maturity assessment and overlaying it, is taking two complex areas and looking at them from a very simple viewpoint, and then putting meat on the bones based on that simple view.
Excellent insights. 6 months ago, I'm pretty sure Lloyd asked the kind of question, but we'll ask it again as things have evolved. What kind of things do you expect to happen? What would you what would your advice be to those people kind of looking at Oracle, implementing Oracle, working with it at the moment? From a staffing point of view, from your from your angle.
Yeah, I guess there's a few things outside of Gen AI and ESG that we're talking about, which are both going to be big in the next 2 years, because they have to be. Especially from an ESG regulatory point of view. I think my concern, and where focus can certainly work, and organisations can certainly work. When I was at the user group, which seems like years ago, but it was only a couple of weeks ago,
yeah,
brought in the Next Gen program and worked with Oracle. Worked around the Next Gen, D&I, etc., bringing the next generation along, because I'm a bit tired of seeing people like me who have been around far too long. Where are where's the 30-year-old project managers? Where's the next generation of people who are going to take this forward? Because I'm fearful of that. And I think organisations, they have internship programs. Oracle have got a great Gen O program. Antonine looks after that in Dublin. It's brilliant, and she's brilliant what she's done. The opportunities for younger people who probably get the new technology better and don't diss it as much as I do when I'm grumpy. No, I'm joking. But they're more aligned and tuned to how people digest stuff. My kids have an attention span of about a millisecond and scrolling past stuff. And
yeah, that's it. I fall into that trap.
The way that, and I started doing that now. I do doom scroll occasionally if I'm on the train. I think, what am I doing?
You do have to catch yourself. You really do, yeah.
But if that's the way that people digest information, and we're in a world where, Oracle, any vendor, we're displaying information and people are digesting it. Quite simple. And we're sending it to other people to digest or process. So, evolving ERP and HCM systems to make them more palatable to the way that the next generation is working is the way that people should be looking, because, get your best designers, which are, quite frankly, largely, it was interesting. I was watching a documentary, Rick Beato on, who's a musician in the States, got a podcast. He was saying people are most creative between the 20s and 30s, which I completely agree with. I think if I was to be given the task to redesign a complete media platform or set up an event, which is why they never let me do events at the user group. For me, I'll just put a couple of balloons over the door and think, here you go, here's our event.
Yeah.
Whereas the younger generation who got involved, their ideas, their creativity.
It's not as linear, is it, right?
I'll just turn 51, would you believe it? My 30th year working with Oracle. I don't have brilliant creative ideas anymore. I can talk about it. But, you've got to match the next generation of talent with the products that are coming along. So, I think everybody's got a duty of care to make sure we're not just churning over and matching CVs to roles. We should be giving the next generation the chance to develop, because otherwise we're going to have a massive skills shortage with Oracle, SAP, or any implementation.
That's it. I think there's similarities there between what's happening in other technologies, in the way that there are restrictions and kind of barriers to entry being lifted. I think they are raising the barriers. I think they need to fill those gaps, and there's only one way to do that, and that's just to kind of make it appealing, reduce the barrier to entry, get people in, and just kind of fill that pool with people, and then people like us at Focus can do the sifting, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know what the analogy is, but you Oracle, let's say tier one vendors and products, they are absolutely huge in terms of their product set. Oracle can do everything, and that's a sweeping statement. But whatever you want to do in business, it has a product, it has a service, it has the technology to support that in a great way. And like I say, I'm not paid by Oracle, but I'll just observe in my 30 years that
yeah,
you need to do. But how do you make absolutely everything cool and relevant? The bigger something becomes, look at Apple. They started with design. Johnny Ive, whatever his name was, it was about, being cool. And I think the smaller vendors, the tier threes, who have HCM products, not that many tier threes of sort of hardcore ERP and finance products, but they start with creativity. And I think that's really important because it appeals to the next generation of buyers.
Yeah.
Because they're buying an experience. They're assuming the product works. But so what's the differentiator? Well, we're buying the experience. How does this product make us feel? How does the vendor make us feel? And how is the journey? Does the journey need to get out of bed? So I think that is where things are going to move. And that's where organizations like yourselves need to support that, because ultimately you'll get the better ideas from the next generation to match the way that people digest the information.
Absolutely, no, that's absolutely key. I think that matches kind of our remit, especially over the last I suppose year or so, and what we're trying to achieve, especially from a marketing point of view. The sales team and the recruitment team, they continue to do their thing, but I think as Focus Cloud grows, we've got more and more of a remit to kind of go and do some really interesting and cool stuff. And just kind of getting involved with the user group, I think, is going to be the key to that. Obviously, you're no longer kind of involved as such, but the introduction that you gave us is absolutely kind of vital. I think it's showing us what could be.
Watch this space, because that story hasn't finished yet, hasn't concluded.
Oh, excellent!
That will all be announced in the new year when I go to the States and do various other things that I'm trying to stop me from retiring. So,
a little snippet then for the audience.
Well, tune in next time.
That's it. Yeah. Next time we'll definitely be touching base on that. I'm sure everyone will kind of see it as well as we kind of grow, and I'm sure this won't be the only chat between then and now. So
a lot of there's going on. I mean, Oracle Cloud World is now in something like 24 countries next year. They are all over the place. I think I sort of realised that everybody used to go to San Francisco, which is one of my favourite places in the world, and we all used to go over there. And then you got Vegas, and now I think there's about 5 Cloud Worlds in North America next year. One in New York, which I'm going to go to. But it's kicking off. It's quite a calendar. It's almost one-to-one with Formula One. Would you believe, in terms of where people are going and stuff? But
it's not a bad matchup, is it? If you can schedule the calendars, maybe synchronise with the F1 calendar. That's not a bad shout. Is it?
That would be. I'm a big F1 fan, and I always get ribs from Oracle because I'm a Mercedes fan at the moment. So, but that's just a joke that we have.
I was going to say, on the subject of kind of making Oracle a little bit sexier again, seeing them kind of more involved in the football stats and the sports world is definitely something that I think has engaged the kind of just the regular person. Seeing that brand kind of just makes it a little bit more relevant.
It's common ground, because when I go to dinner parties, which I haven't been to for at least 24 hours. I went to one last night. Which, when you say, "Oh, what do you do then?" which is a great question, which I love answering.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, have you heard of Oracle? Oh, racing cars." So there is that. Whereas before, oh, you heard of Oracle? Is that the shopping centre in Reading? No, no, it's that sort of the common person, for want of a better
Yeah.
phrase, has
Yeah.
got something to relate Oracle to, and that's important because everybody's got Oracle. Java. Everybody uses Java, but they don't realise it's owned by Oracle. You go to see the terminals in point of sale and retail. That's Oracle. Oh, I didn't know that. So it's everywhere.
So I think it's interesting to see because obviously, we got involved with Workday, back in 2016, 2017 when Focus Cloud originated, and Oracle, Workday were doing things, starting to do things in the golf world, and then obviously they've started doing a little bit in the F1 now as well. So seeing them kind of grow there, it kind of started that, and then seeing Oracle do as well. So I think Oracle been around for a lot longer, but kind of seeing them come back into the fray and almost compete for the same kind of spaces is quite interesting to see. So just any final thoughts from yourself, Richard, before we meet again in a few months' time, no doubt, and we catch up face to face, hopefully. Any final thoughts for you for just kind of anyone kind of watching this that's going to be that this is their introduction to kind of Focus Fusion, Oracle recruitment, all that kind of stuff?
I think you're right that the market is needing a fresh approach in terms of Oracle recruitment, and the market has become a bit stale, and I think recruitment generally has got a much better name in terms of behaviours than it had years ago. It's cleaned up its act. It's like you said, it's about the experience that you get, as opposed to a robotic CV matching to a job spec and saying, well, where's my £5,000 then for doing absolutely nothing? It's you're selling value as opposed to cost. And I had this conversation, I was talking about it this morning. People buy value and they buy people experience. All products are the same, they all work, tick, that's 80%. But the differentiator is what experience did you get when you were buying that product or service or person, etc. So that is the differentiator. And that is where successful organizations win, like yourselves. You're winning in SAP and Workday and other areas that you look at. And if you repeat that model, then I'm sure you'll be very successful. There are 20,000 recruitment agencies in the UK. Your organisation is doing very well for a very good reason. That it's a people-placing journey and experience, and people want to come back to you, and that's the success.
Absolutely, yeah, and that is absolutely key to kind of everything we do and everything we try and preach internally here from like a culture kind of point of view, and that's exactly it. But anyway, so Richard, thank you very much for joining us for this very much shorter version of a kind of podcast episode. But yeah, thank you very much. Now, yeah, do keep an eye on kind of all the socials, LinkedIn especially, as we continue to develop, grow, launch the Focus Fusion brand, and I'm sure we will be sharing a video screen or maybe even do it in person again. We'll see you again soon. So Richard, thank you very much.
Looking forward to it. Best of luck.